Stand is a woman's commemoration of the historical contributions of the woman's right to vote that happened in 1920. And by putting this here, we hope to promote women's historical contributions and talk about how important women's contributions were in the United States. There was just a lack of historical contributions of women, in particular in public art throughout the country. So we determined that Lexington needed to be put on the map and be a part of the small amount of statues that are available throughout the country.
We knew that there was a need, and I think our community showed their support and that they knew that this was the right thing to do in celebration of women and their historical achievements. So I think that pretty much was the inspiration and the motivation. You know, I have said this before, and it really was not all as tough as you might think it would be during a pandemic. I mean, we were limited in personal calls, but it seemed that it really kind of helped. I think people were isolated. They gave more thought to what we were asking about, and we have a very generous community. We do. And we had over 470 donors. But we also had some major contributors that really made up 80% of the campaign. But what's important is when you have 480 plus donors, everybody is vested. You know what I'm saying? From $5 to $50,000, which was our largest donation. It's a feeling of community unity to get behind a cause that folks believed in. So it wasn't like easy, but it was easier than I thought, and we were able to raise over $600,000 in less than 3 years.
Well, I think we were very, very careful in making sure that it was very inclusive. We didn't pick one particular woman to focus on because there were so many women that were involved in this fight, and we felt like it was more inclusive, and we just picked kind of, you know, women in general to show that everyone was involved, and it makes a difference for all women, not just some particular women. Because a lot of the suffragists were white suffragists.
Yes.
And so we wanted to make sure that we just didn't focus on one particular group, but all groups of women.
And I was going to add that when we first put out what we call our request for information, that we received over 120 folks that responded to this. I mean, artists across the country. And so then we narrowed it down. We had an independent panel, art-related folks, experts, and they chose 5. We had all the 5 artists come in, and then they chose, I should say, this one. But I mean, that just speaks to the interest in celebrating women and their accomplishments across our country.
Barbara Grigudis from Tucson, Arizona.
I'd get rid of COVID.
Well, that's a good point. That would be a great time. I think it went pretty smoothly, considering that we did deal with COVID, but there was such interest in the project and such support that I think we were very, very fortunate to have that kind of support, and we had a great committee that supported us, people throughout the community. We had artists, we had teachers, we had educators, we had people involved in the community in different ways that supported us, and we weren't turned away at all when we talked about this project and what it did for Lexington. It actually put us on the map. I really think so.
Yeah, a lot of cities they postponed their activity. So we were one of the few in the country that actually got done with our project and also celebrated our project.
We made the deadline.
We made our deadline. Yeah, that was great. Well, I think every time I drive down Vine Street and I look up, I think that's a great takeaway, because you're reminded not just of our campaign and the efforts that went into it, but you're reminded about women, the strength of women, the determination,
Absolutely.
and what these women did 100 years ago to secure a vote, and that was a big deal. I mean, some of them went to jail. Some of them were beaten. I mean, it's crazy what they went through just to be able to have a voice about where our country was going and why it was going that way.
I think it's a great inspiration for young girls and young boys to know that over 52% of our population has a meaning in the community and in the country. Voting is an essential right, and I think everyone needs to understand that that is so important, and to exercise that right and to protect that right. So I feel like that is a great accomplishment. If we can make people aware of what this is about and how important it is to us as a country to continue to follow that path and go forward with our voting rights. Inspirational.
That was my word as well, but I would say inspiration. Satisfaction that we could get this done, and not we and Jennifer and I, but the community could accomplish this during a time of a lot of challenges, and the community was focused on getting this done. So, a satisfaction.
And inspirational because voting rights, they're under siege right now. There's many states that are, promoting laws to deter people from voting, make it harder for people to vote. And this is a great symbol saying that look what these women did. As Kathy said, 100 years ago, they fought, they were jailed, they starved to get this right. So exercise this right, protect this right, and respect this right. That's very, very important. I think overwhelmingly very positive. I think the biggest thing is they don't realize how tall it is. It's almost 25 feet tall, and its illumination at night is very beautiful. So I think it's just so star striking that it makes such an impact. But very positive feedback.
One of the things that I would like to see, and Jennifer and I, gave a lot of time to this, but we'd love to hand the baton to someone, take an educational component to this, and to get more of our children engaged in historical historical feats that have accomplished. So I'd like to see that happen. And we even talked about perhaps a scholarship to a young woman for college, and that would be a cool legacy to say that we put this up, but it lives on, supporting women and their vision and their goals and accomplishments.